digital transformation isn't just about technology, it's about people.
We're also managing ideas and generative thinking from our employees through a very managed pipeline to make sure that innovation becomes part of our daily process.
According to Statistics Canada, 35% of jobs in Canada can now be performed remotely.
Creating an ecosystem in our organizations where folks feel safe to be able to make mistakes, to be able to learn from those mistakes, share those mistakes with others, so that we can build a stronger, more resilient culture of innovation organizationally.
Welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, where we dive into the stories, strategies, and innovations that empower Canadian entrepreneurs. Did you know that remote work has surged by over 400% in Canada since 2020? This massive shift is redefining how businesses approach leadership, teamwork, and digital transformation. Today, we're excited to explore how digital transformation and leadership strategies can help Canadian businesses thrive in an ever-evolving landscape. Joining us is Sam Jenkins, managing partner of Punchcard, Canada's leading digital transformation studio. With a passion for innovation and design, Sam has been at the forefront of helping businesses scale and innovate through tailored software solutions and human-centric strategies. Sam's entrepreneurial spirit extends beyond business, with a deep commitment to building meaningful communities and, contributing to the tech landscape in Canada. In this episode, we'll discuss the impact of shifting workplace trends and on leadership and HR strategies, why the human touch is vital in digital transformation, how can Canada address the tech brain drain and stay competitive globally, and lastly, the balanced role of AI in the workplace. Whether you're a leader navigating the challenges of a remote team or a business owner looking to integrate AI and digital solutions. This episode is packed with actionable insights to drive your growth. Welcome to the podcast, Sam. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great, and thanks for having me here.
Of course, wishing you a very happy new year. We're still in the first month of the year. How's it been so far for you?
You know, it's been, I think, a fast-paced year as a business owner in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of uncertainty, and I think we're all navigating that as best we can.
Right.
We've had a couple of years of incredible growth as an organization, and I'm hoping to continue that trend. And we'll see what our neighbors to the south are going to do over the next little while.
Definitely, everything looks interesting. Let's start the conversation by exploring leadership and workplace trends. Now, the rise of remote work has redefined the workplace, right? According to Statistics Canada, 35% of jobs in Canada can now be performed remotely. Now, that's a big number, right? Now, this shift has, pushed leaders to rethink HR and leadership strategies to meet the demands of a hybrid or a fully remote workplace. Now, Sam, as someone, leading a fully remote team, how have you seen workplace models and, technologies reshape HR and leadership strategies in the recent years? What changes have you seen?
It's a wonderful question because we've had experience in kind of all the different states of, we'll say, organizational work.
Right.
We, in 2020, like many organizations, we went remote because we had to. But if you fast forward to 2024, we closed our office fully. We've also scaled our team pretty significantly over that time frame as well. And my perspective, and I think our organization's perspective on remote work and more so distributed or hybrid work has really matured. I think as an organization, we've really tried to focus on how do we rethink communication, collaboration, accountability.
All the basics. Right.
To make sure that we are acting the right way for the people that we're serving. And in that case, it may be our employees, but it's also our customers as well. And so when I think about our team, that nature of accountability is so important, but we've also built systems, rituals around the way we work to make sure that our team can stay accountable to each other.
That's an excellent point, I'd say, Sam. It's clear that embracing flexibility and using the right tools, it can, transform how your team's operating, right? Now, building on that, it's not just about the tools. It's also about the strategies that make remote teams successful. like on top of your mind, Sam, can you share some specific strategies that you have, that have helped and you've seen that in person remote teams succeed?
Absolutely. So, like I mentioned in my response to the last question there, we went fully remote here over the past couple of years, and to the point where we now have team members who stretch kind of across Canada, here all the way to the West Coast kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had to think really, really carefully about what type of culture we want to be able to build. And some of those kind of core strategies are around very specific touch points. So
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned earlier, we think quite a bit about ritual.
Mm-hmm.
For us, ritual might be something as simple as at the start of our all hands meeting, we break off into coffee chats. Or at the end of our all hands meeting, we spend time doing what we call values in action, where we share story with each other
Mm-hmm.
around how we are living our core values on a day-to-day basis. It's become really important to us, and it's become really evident to us that when we've migrated away from an in-person culture, we had to find very meaningful and obvious ways to share how people were living our values. We're a pretty value-centric organization,
Right.
at least we try to be, and we've had to double down on that quite a bit. Now, one side is ritual, the stuff we do very regularly, but the other thing is rhythm. And so by investing in things like team leadership, constant contact with between management and their employees, we're really driving towards something that actually Patrick Lencioni talks about in The Advantage. It's all about alignment. We're working towards to make sure that our team is aligned with leadership, is aligned with each other, and most importantly, aligned with our customers.
Wow, your insights, they highlight the importance of being adaptable and collaboration, the importance of collaboration in, managing a remote workforce. So you're doing a great job, and kudos to your team for that. I understand the example that you mentioned is about your own company only, so you've recovered pretty well from that. Also, I'd like to add that leadership in a remote era, it requires new approaches, and the lessons that you've shared are invaluable for all the listeners out there. Now, let's shift the focus and talk about the human element in digital transformation, because the talk about AI is everywhere, right? And everyone's talking about how it'll take over the human jobs. Now, while digital transformation is, often associated with technology, a Deloitte report found that 72% of successful transformations prioritize people over technology. Right. Now, this highlights the critical role of understanding human needs in driving meaningful change as well, right? Now, when it comes to digital transformation projects, why do you believe, Sam, that collaborative intelligence and, understanding that those human nuances make a difference?
Wonderful question, because I think you hit the kernel of the value there,
Right.
being that it's people over process, people over technology.
Right.
As an organization, we work in an agile format, so we're trying to be as adaptive as possible. But at the root of agile process is people, and so digital transformation. I think we kind of get lost in that word digital. It's all about people.
Right.
And so when we're thinking about user experience or human experience as a requirement of deciding what matters in digital transformation, we're trying to think about what very conscious collaborative effort will do to be able to move a transformation project forward. For example, when we're building software or building a digital platform with our clients, our team and our clients together engage in daily stand-ups. Now, one might think that a 5 or 10 minute daily meeting might seem boring or extraneous, but it's the people connecting with each other, talking about what's working, what's not, and what kind of blockers are in place.
Right.
That's what actually creates the real value of the transformation. People communicating with each other, talking about problems, and working towards meaningful results that matter to them very, very deeply. We follow another philosophy in our organization as we're working with our clients that we call metrics that matter. Often, I think technology projects get lost in just implementing something, right? We want to build this software. We want to implement this hardware. We want to use this tool. AI is happening like that all the time.
Right.
But when we're talking about the metrics that matter, we want to look at what actually is meaningful to the organization. How can we move the needle in a way that is going to impact perhaps leadership, perhaps people inside the organization, perhaps people outside the organization, in a way that creates real value. And if we're not measuring it, it potentially doesn't matter.
Right. I think it's all about asking yourself the right questions. And only when you've gotten your basics clear, only then you can thrive or make a real impact in the world out there.
Mm.
Now, focusing on people as the foundation of transformation, it truly makes technology more impactful. So, thank you for sharing that point. Digital transformation isn't just about technology, it's about people. As business owners, it's important to focus on real human needs. Sam Jenkins and Punchcard, both of them show us that the right solutions start with understanding people first, creating real impact where it matters the most. Now, let's shift our focus and talk about another pressing challenge for Canada: retaining and growing our tech talent. Now, Canada is facing a tech brain drain right now, right? With a growing number of talented professionals leaving for opportunities abroad. In fact, 25% of Canadian tech workers have considered relocating to the US for better prospects, according to a report by Brookfield Institute. Now, Sam, expanding on that, Canada has been experiencing a tech brain drain. We all know about it. What steps do you think are necessary to invest in an and upskill our local talent to address this issue? What can be the call to action for this?
Absolutely. Okay, so I think simple question, potentially simple answer, but really, if you kind of dive deep into it, it's not just a one person or one organization type solve. We have to be looking at the ecosystem as a whole, all the way down to organizations just like Punchcard, who are employing and upskilling talent. So if I think about my role as an owner of a business, my job really has to be making sure that we are finding and building new opportunities, more exciting, more impactful opportunities for our tech talent. We need to be thinking about how are we upskilling into not just technical roles, but how are we combining that with leadership? Because at the end of the day, AI is also going to affect the nature of how we deploy technical talent. Most developers in our ecosystem at this point understand that their time is becoming more centered on understanding human need rather than technical need.
Right.
And so as we are investing in those types of skills for the people that work for us, we are going to see better value come out of technical organizations. Now, I think this doesn't discount the opportunity for government, educational institutions, third-party nonprofits like Careers in Technology and Innovation, to make sure that they are building programs and skills to make sure that new Canadians and new employees are upskilling in a way that is really meaningful. And then fundamentally, we have to work towards building more sustainable, more aggressively sustainable organizations so that we can pay better. Fundamentally, that's the reason why people go across the border. Yes, opportunity, the excitement of
and
opportunity,
more money.
but more money, right?
Yeah.
If we look at the U.S. dollar today, it's compared to its Canadian counterpart, there's a very real difference between the two. And so if I'm a Canadian employee looking at opportunities, especially in tech, I may have a bit broader view in terms of what's possible for me. Not to mention, the nature of remote work means that I can still live in Canada and work for U.S. organizations. So as an ecosystem, we need to be creating more opportunities to be able to not only retain the talent, but give a reason for that talent to want to stay here in Canada.
Exactly. I think you just touched the nerve of the problem out there. Now, addressing the tech brain drain, it's very important, and it's essential for positioning Canada as a global leader also, I'd say, right? Especially in innovation and technology. We'll be right back with more insights into the transformative world of workplace technology and AI.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. You still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep, healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah, well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep. That's all us. That's all UPS.
At IHG Hotels and Resorts, we're in the business of you.
We're here to help you plug in,
Connect and recharge.
Make an impression,
and meet with confidence.
With 19 brands built for business,
your business gets even more rewarding.
With an award-winning loyalty program at 6,000 IHG hotels and resorts worldwide.
Welcome back to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. We're continuing our conversation with Sam Jenkins about the future of work and technology in Canada. Now, Sam, let's talk about the balanced role of AI in the workplace. Artificial intelligence, it's all around, it's transforming workplaces across industries. According to PwC, AI could contribute up to $15.7 trillion. $15.7 trillion to the global economy by 2030. That is, we're already in 2025, so the next 5 years. But its adoption of AI also comes with a lot of technical difficulties, a lot of mindset challenges. Now, what are some ways, companies can leverage AI to enhance efficiency while, balancing potential challenges and also ethical considerations?
Yeah, a wonderful question, because I think most leaders in business are at least thinking about it. Maybe they're not talking about it as much yet, but we need to be talking about it more.
Yes.
I'd look at this through a couple of different lenses. The first lens would just be about implementation. I think right now we are still in the early stages of what this means for business technology. And so many organizations need to be experimenting more with these technologies, but recognizing that many of these platforms, many of these technologies may not exist in 12 months or 24 months. Typically in technology, we see ebb and flow in terms of availability of resources. And so as these tools and platforms find their niche, they will become a little bit more sustainable. But as platforms don't become sustainable, they end up disappearing. So when I look at tools like Microsoft Copilot, well, we know that Microsoft is probably here to stay. And so I think there's some low-hanging fruit for organizations to be able to invest there. Tools like Power Automate to be able to optimize workflows, to be able to take mundane tasks and turn them digital.
Right.
Because this is also related to that brain drain component. Most employees want to be working on things that are very impactful in the organization.
Right, not the repetitive ones.
Not the repetitive stuff, right? And so if we can pull that into our AI tools, not only can we make our organizations more sustainable, more or less susceptible to risk, but also we're able to build a better experience for our employees. The second thing that I would look at is a little bit more focused on policy. Organizations today need to be thinking about what their AI policy is going to look like. And this is not a one-size-fits-all, and it's not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of strategy.
It's a tailored thing. Yeah.
It has to be tailored, and it's going to change over time. But by setting policy and evaluating that policy as an organization, we can continue to make improvements to it and adapt to what we learn as things go on. The final element that I think is really important is it's all around culture. In our organization, and this is a little bit more of an anecdote, but we've built out an innovation practice where we have a leader in our organization who her responsibility full-time is managing our innovation pipeline. This includes the impact of AI in terms of how we work and how we engage with our clients. We're also managing ideas and generative thinking from our employees through a very managed pipeline to make sure that innovation becomes part of our daily process. I think my encouragement to other Canadian SMEs would be make sure that you are investing properly in innovation, make it a regular opportunity for continuous improvement, and don't be afraid of the change that's going to come along with it.
Wow, that's a very balanced approach towards AI, I'd say. It's clear that while AI has, enormous potential, it also requires careful implementation. So it all boils down to asking yourself the right questions. Now, on that note, let's look at the human impact of AI in a little more depth. Now, how do you envision the future of work in Canada, right? Just like make a prediction. particularly in terms of, balancing technological advancements with human-centric approaches?
Sure. I think what's really important to think about there in terms of the future of work is the nature of how information workers or knowledge workers in Canada are going to be affected by AI. At this point in time, close to half of all jobs have a technology requirement. And that's not just somebody who's writing software code or somebody who's maybe doing an accounting function and interacting with QuickBooks. This is all jobs, including field staff. And so I think the future of work is based in digital. Organizations that aren't thinking about how they are optimizing some of the processes to be able to move data properly throughout their organization, they're going to be missing out. They're going to be behind because at the end of the day, if we have a more traditional Canadian business, perhaps we have an organization that has a head office and we have staff out in the field. If we're not thinking about how we are engaging those field staff with data collection and giving them tools to be able to make better decisions on our behalf, our competitors will move faster. And they'll beat us.
Right. Now, again, AI has the potential to revolutionizing work, but as you just highlighted, it's also very important to make sure that you are doing it with focus on ethics as well, because business ethics is something that we need to talk about a lot in today's day and time. And also with something like AI taking over everything, it's very important to draw the lines and know where the boundary lies. AI is transforming the workplace, offering incredible opportunities to enhance efficiency and productivity. However, as Sam points out, responsible implementation is critical to success. It's not just about adopting the new technology. It's about balancing innovation with human values. Learn how to leverage AI effectively while keeping people at the heart of your business. Now, finally, Sam, let's discuss how Canadian SMEs can foster innovation and prepare their teams for the future. So, Sam, as we wrap up, what one advice would you like to give to Canadian SMEs looking to build a culture of innovation and set their remote teams up for success?
Well, there are probably lots of little bits of information. I think the one most important point that I can leave with folks is about it's about risk, and it's about making sure that it's safe for teams to be able to engage in things like innovation. Now, the reason why I think this is so important and why safety is so important is that at the end of the day, the things we learn from innovation, from experimentation, from trying new things, generally comes from when we make mistakes or when we fail. And so we want to balance all of those mistakes, all that learning, along with the wins that we have along the way as well. So we want to make sure that we are creating an ecosystem in our organizations where folks feel safe to be able to make mistakes, to be able to learn from those mistakes, share those mistakes with others, so that we can build a stronger, more resilient culture of innovation organizationally. I had a mentor at one point who said, small experiments with radical intent. And that nature of those small experiments stacking up, that's innovation. But the stacking up of all of that learning, all of that value, that's what creates growth.
Amazing. Another question I want to ask, it's sprouting in my mind right now. If there's one thing that you could, go back in time, take the time machine and do something differently in your business, what would that be?
Oh, that's the hardest question that you've asked today. So my business partner and I, Eston and I have been working together for over a decade. Punchcard was not our first company. It was a later experiment. And the advice that I would give to myself if I went back would be listen to my mistakes and make decisions faster based on the things that I'm learning. I think as entrepreneurs, we are often we don't get caught in decision cycles, but I think sometimes we don't listen to our guts nearly as much. And you know what? My gut is very rarely wrong, but sometimes I second guess it. So I would say listen to myself as fully as possible.
Wow, you're a wonderful entrepreneur, I'd say, and also a wonderful human being. So thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Sam Jenkins shared incredible insights into leadership, digital transformation, and the evolving workplace landscape. Today's key takeaways are: number one, Leadership strategies must adapt to remote work or emerging technologies. Second, digital transformation thrives when human needs are prioritized. Number 3, retaining and developing local tech talent is critical for Canada's competitiveness. Number 4, AI offers immense potential but must be implemented ethically and responsibly. A special thank you to our podcast partners, RBC, UPS, IHG Hotels and Resorts, and Google for supporting this platform and empowering Canadian small businesses. For more expert advice and inspiring stories, visit CanadianSME.ca and subscribe to our podcast. Keep innovating, keep growing, and remember, transformation begins with people.